long, long time. You've been following this campaign pretty closely.
Yes, I have, and I worked on it hard for Tom. We raised some money for him locally in Lehigh County, and I'm just very happy that it's been a successful run.
What can you say to the people of Lehigh County and the Lehigh Valley who are concerned about issues of public safety, and specifically, can you comment on what he will do for Allentown and Lehigh Valley?
Well, I expect that Tom will be much tougher on paroles. I think he'll name very competent people to the parole board and to PCCD. Those areas of state government that impact on law enforcement, the Commissioner of the State Police, I think Tom Corbett will make very sound decisions.
Hey, I really appreciate the time. You're here for a party. Go out and enjoy yourself. Thanks again. Lehigh County District Attorney Jim Martin joining us here. In about 10-15 minutes from now, Vaughn Wendy, the new governor-elect, will address the crowd. We'll have that live for you. Live in Pittsburgh, Bo Koltnow, 69 News.
All right. As Bo said, you never know who you'll run into out there. Jim Martin, Lehigh County DA. Congress, 6th District, Jim Gerlach is about 50% of the precincts counted in this district. The 6th District, Gerlach's holding the lead, and over almost 10,000 votes over the challenger, the Democrat and newcomer to political office, to running for office, Manon Trivedi, who spoke a little while ago to his supporters.
We had a great time. I mean, it's just an amazing outpouring of supporters, and turnout was really well done, and so exciting. You know, I'm so proud of my campaign and my campaign staff and the volunteers and just everybody. We were up and down this crazy district. It goes all the way down to Philly, all the way up to Kutztown, and we drove up and down it twice, working train stations, polls, and people are pumped up. So very proud, very excited about today.
When you look back at your campaign, what were you most proud of?
About the campaign? Look, all of this, you know, all these people not getting paid a dime here, you know, just pouring out their heart and soul, working day in, day out, phone banking. I went to my Ardmore office at 6 p.m. today, 2 hours before the polls closed. We had over 20 people still making calls, making sure people, and this is all volunteers. I mean, this is just the amazing thing about the democratic process and how involved people get when they believe in something, when they know something is so tangible and so in their reach, and just an outpouring of amazing individuals and their support. So we're excited.
Was there any challenges you saw during the campaign that you look back on?
Challenges, you know, nothing that comes to mind immediately, but, you know, I think sort of the entrenched interest, the power of incumbency is always a challenge, and all the sort of outside money that came pouring in to my opponent's campaign, it's always sort of a challenge. But, you know, look, I'm excited. I'm so proud of all my staff and all my volunteers and all my family. My in-laws came up and made calls last week, you know, my brother, my wife, even took out our 6-month-old baby. So, look, amazing 14 months it's been for me, and looking forward to seeing the results tonight.
What was the core message that you wanted the people to hear?
I think the core message is, look, we need real people with real-world experience, who are from the community, who have insight. You know, as a doctor, as a veteran, as a native Berks Countyan, I can provide that. I think so many people are frustrated, and, you know, I share that frustration, and I know people are looking for something different, and that's what I tried to offer.
Manon Trivedi was not able to pull off the upset and beat Jim Gerlach tonight in the 6th District. Now, one of our big stories yet to be decided tonight, the U.S. Senate race.
That's right. You're looking at the numbers right now. It is close, 50-50. However, Pat Toomey pulling out the lead for the first time this evening now with about a 22,000 vote lead on Joe Sestak. Sestak had been leading for the majority of the night, and even though the numbers still say 50-50, Toomey is starting to pull ahead, and with 93% of precincts reporting, this one could be very tight. Yep,
he's made up a lot of ground. Pat Toomey has in the last half an hour or so, as more and more of those precincts, presumably more suburban and rural precincts, have come in. John Derr is with the Toomey campaign tonight in Fogelsville, Lehigh County. Hi, John.
Hey there, Rob. I'll tell you, people have been kind of on the edge of their seats here all night because Pat's been behind, but as you said, he has just pulled ahead, and the people here are now getting pumped up and hoping that when those final numbers come in, that Pat's going to come out on top. Right now, joining us is Scott Ott. Scott. He's the executive director of the Lehigh County Republican Committee. And Scott, this was expected to be a close race, and it's living up to that billing.
Well, yeah, it was really the biggest race in the country as far as the media was concerned, and it's great because it's coming down to be a nail-biter, so they may keep us up late tonight. It's good to see that it's this close, and I think that Pat's going to win it.
Pat Toomey, of course, a three-term congressman from the Lehigh Valley. How would it be to have a local guy like this in the U.S. Senate?
I think it'd be terrific, not only because he was a three-term congressman for the Lehigh Valley, but because he stepped down. He said he was going to do 3 terms. He did, and then he got out. He returned to regular life. You run into him at the grocery store or out at the soccer field or at school. I used to run into him at the precinct where we voted together. So it's neat to have somebody who understands the prosperity that flows from the entrepreneurial spirit here in the Lehigh Valley, a very successful area of Pennsylvania.
A little while ago, we had an acceptance speech from Charlie Dent, and the Democrats really put a lot into this race this time, and still Charlie won pretty easily. Is there anybody in this area that could beat Charlie Dent?
Well, I don't know the answer to that question. I do know that you can't come from Washington, D.C. and handpick somebody to run against a guy who is knit into the local community. Nobody works harder than Charlie Dent to be a legislator who represents his neighborhood, his community, his district.
You said there's been a bit of a change in the Republican Party leadership in this area recently, and it's really kind of turned things around?
Yeah, the Chairman Wayne Woodman has really got this attitude that it's local that really matters, and so he's really been working to develop a party from the grassroots, from the ground up, reaching people in their precincts. It's very exciting today to have the results coming in from all the people that we had out there in the field, letting us know what was happening on the ground. I think you're going to see in the next year or so a real turnaround in this local Republican committee.
Well, right now with this race, with the Sestak-Toomey race so tight, do you think we might end up with a recount? Do you think we're going to have a winner tonight?
Well, that's obviously out of my hands, and since, it's funny because we don't think about it, but all the votes are already in, and so it's already decided. We just don't know the answer, and it's in God's hands now.
Right. Scott, thank you for joining us tonight. I appreciate you waiting around. Scott Ott, the director of the Lehigh County Republican Committee here, and again, the vote is tight, and we're just all waiting, hoping for an answer tonight. Live from Toomey headquarters, I'm John Derr. Rob Wendy, back to you.
All right, thanks, John. As John mentioned, a lot of folks sitting on the edge of their seats. Toomey headquarters, no doubt, same thing going on at Sestak headquarters. That's where Joscelyn Moes is standing by live now. She is at the Radnor Hotel in Delaware County. Hi, Joscelyn.
Hi, guys. You knew coming into Election Day that this was going to be a tight race, and that has proven true. We are not hearing nearly as many cheers coming from supporters as we had earlier in the evening. But right now joining us is Wendell Young, the president of the UFCW Local 1776. Thank you for joining us. What's going through your mind right now? Are you a little nervous?
Well, I wish the numbers were the other way around. Of course we're nervous. We put a lot of time and effort into this. The race is very close, only a few tenths of a percent. This is one of those things we may not know tonight.
And talk a little bit about that time and effort that you've put in. Tell us what the effort has been from the union.
Well, I've been a supporter of Joe since he first ran for Congress, but on this particular election, we were with him from the very beginning in his primary run. We've not let up. We've had people knocking on doors, making phone calls, workplace visits all throughout Pennsylvania, hundreds of volunteers and others permanently assigned to work this campaign. Put a lot of time and effort into it, and I'm confident our members were very supportive of Joe Sestak.
Okay, and a lot of work being done even throughout the day today.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We were at it all the way up until the polls closed. A lot of people, various locations around the state.
All right, so you're going to be here throughout the night, biting your nails probably, right?
Be here as long as Joe's here tonight.
All right, thank you so much. I do appreciate it. But again, a little bit nervous here at the Radnor Hotel. We'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
I guess so, and with reason, because the margins now switched in Toomey's favor. Okay, to Congress, the 15th district race. We've heard both from John Callahan, the Democrat, and from the Republican winner, Charlie Dent, tonight. He takes it with the 56% of the vote, not a final tabulation, but he's got a healthy margin of about 15 percentage points over John Callahan.
That's right. Jaccii Farris is standing by with the winner, Charlie Dent, right now. Hi, Jaccii.
Hi, guys. I'm waiting for Charlie Dent to come on over. He's shaking hands. Well, here he is. Charlie, congratulations, first of all. Now, you said that tonight was about putting this country back on track. What exactly is it going to take to do that?
Well, first, the American public is very concerned about these high levels of the spending. They're worried about the deficits, not seeing enough job creation, and they're going to want to see some fiscal restraint. I mean, that's the one message I've heard. If I could encapsulate this election into really a short soundbite, is this. that people are concerned about the size and scope of the federal government. And the election was really about, do we want a more limited federal government or a more expansive one? That was really the fundamental choice, I think, out there tonight.
Now, one of the things that you mentioned in your speech was you wanted to protect the homeland. Now, I know that's on the minds of a lot of people, especially with the UPS situation that we went through just this last week. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, on Friday, I talked to the TSA Administrator, John Pistol. He called me shortly after this. But I think we have to remain ever vigilant. We have people in this world, in this case Al-Qaeda of the Arabian Peninsula, that is intent on disrupting our way of life. And they have been fixated for years on the aviation sector. They're looking at cargo, and in this case, air cargo. And they're trying to probe our vulnerabilities, and that matter is still under investigation, but it's very clear that our enemies are trying to find ways to disrupt us and to change our way of life. And by the way, this will not only, if they become successful with any of these attacks, it will not only kill Americans, but it will disrupt our economy in very substantial ways, too. We're already in a very fragile economy, so we have to remain ever vigilant.
Now, I know that a lot of people would say that America is sending a message by electing Republicans to positions formerly held by Democrats across the country at a time when our economy is trying to recover from some turmoil and people are hoping for jobs. You talk about being fiscally responsible, but what exactly can you do on the ground level in order to create those jobs that you're talking about?
Well, there are a few things we can do right now. We have to send a message to those who want to create jobs that we're going to let them know what their tax rates are going to be come January 1st. Let them know that the current tax rates should be extended. We should tell small businesses that we want to help you. We can do that. I think I've said throughout the campaign, give a 20% deduction on income to any small business under 500 employees. Those small businesses will take that money and they will spend it much more effectively and efficiently than Washington will. They will create jobs at a lower cost. And they'll be more sustainable jobs, embrace domestic energy exploration. We also need to open markets for American manufacturers and farmers. So these are some things we have to move very aggressively on.
Now, a lot of people would say, that sounds all good and well, Charlie, but how are you going to do that as a Republican going to Washington when you have Republicans and Democrats that are really fractured and people that are worried that nothing's going to happen based on the mood that they're seeing in Washington?
Well, look, this election is sending a message, and by the end of the night, maybe the House turns over. I don't know anything official yet, but it looks like the House will likely go in the Republican hands. So I think you have a much better chance now of arriving at a more centrist position on many of these issues. I think the White House is going to have to bend, and they're going to have to take Republican Congress into consideration now when we pass bills that I think are going to be much more pro-growth oriented, pro-small business, pro-private sector. And I hope that the president works with us to find common ground on these types of issues.
All right, Charlie, thank you so much, and congratulations again. Once again, a victory for Congressman Charlie Dent, who says there's nothing wrong with the community or with America that cannot be fixed, and that job, he says, starts tomorrow. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Jackie.
Thanks. Of course, there's a third candidate in that race, the independent Jake Town, who got several percentage points on the vote tonight, and he spoke with us a short while ago.
The endless debt and the endless wars, and those are the main themes of my campaign. And hopefully some ideas such as the open office will make it into the mainstream, and I challenge everybody in the entire Congress to take up some ideas to try to report and become accountable and transparent to the American citizenry, because they are not right now.
All right, Jake Town, the third candidate in the Lehigh Valley congressional race tonight, came in third as expected, perhaps pulled a few more percentage points than others, than some thought he might.
All right. Take a look at some of the boards now. We're going to look at some races for state representative now in Pennsylvania. We get a look at some of those numbers.
We probably have a power shift happening in the Pennsylvania House tonight as well. First, look at the governor's race. Is that what we're going to do? And we'll see a little recap on how that has turned out for tonight. Tom Corbett, your winner in Pennsylvania, over Dan Honorato. 54% of the vote for Tom Corbett to 46% for Dan Honorato. Maybe not too far off from some of the polling that had gone on in the days prior to Election Day. Tom Corbett takes over after the Democratic governor, Ed Rendell, in Harrisburg. And he is, in fact, going to be speaking momentarily in Pittsburgh. We'll have that for you live. And he will be taking office to work with a legislature that will not be divided any longer, it would appear. It would seem that the Senate, of course, stays in Republican control. And it does sound like, I'm not sure we have this official yet, that the House in Pennsylvania is turning to Republican control as well. So the Republicans gain all 3 spots. And there is our live picture from Pittsburgh. And your governor-elect is Republican Tom Corbett.
For coming out tonight, and thank you for all working so very much during the course of this campaign, and particularly today on what was an absolutely beautiful day in Pennsylvania. And I want to thank the people of Pennsylvania. Thank you for your vote. Thank you for your confidence in me. And I promise you I'm going to work very hard for the people of Pennsylvania. There are a number of people that I do have to thank before I give some remarks. And obviously, the first person that I have to thank is the next First Lady of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. To my son, Tom, to my daughter, Kate, and her husband, Gerald. And to my sister, Frances, her husband, Ron, and all their kids. There are many people who have been on the campaign leadership team. And please, I have to thank all of them. Bob Asher. Here's Bob. Bob Asher. Jack Barber. David Gerard DiCarlo. Charlie Kopp. Madam Justice Newman. Tom Ridge, who was going to be here, but unfortunately he got sick today, so we miss him. Bill Sasso, Pat Solano up in the Northeast, Bob Tamber. Where's Christine Toretti? I know Christine right here. Christine Toretti. And Alan Walker. I also want to thank the Republican Party, State Committeeman, our chairman, Rob Gleason, to the county chairman and the coordinators in all 67 counties in Pennsylvania. Thank you for what you have done. And I know that we had a wonderful ground game led by the campaign team itself, but our coalition members and our volunteers from all the different coalitions we had people in every county. Thank them for being with us and working with us. Without a doubt, I have the best campaign team in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and I think in the United States. And that's headed up, Brian Nutt, my campaign manager. And I have to thank the men and women in the Office of Attorney General, without a doubt, the best state agency, best agency in state government. Thank you for all you do for me and the people of Pennsylvania. In addition, I want to congratulate my opponent, Dan Honorato, on a spirited campaign. Please give him a round of applause. I spoke to Dan a short while ago, and we discussed the importance of coming together, of unifying the people of Pennsylvania behind a common purpose, making Pennsylvania great once again. And again, to the people of Pennsylvania, thank you. I understand with this election that I'm the governor for all Pennsylvania, not Republican, not Democrat, but for all Pennsylvania. I look forward to working with Republicans, Democrats, Independents to, again, make Pennsylvania great. Throughout this campaign, many of you have heard me talk about the challenges that Pennsylvania faces with our economy, with our budget, and with the pensions. But we have to look at those challenges as opportunities. Let's take this from the positive perspectives. We have the opportunity to bring fiscal discipline to Pennsylvania, to bring limited government, and to bring free enterprise to Pennsylvania. And look to the free enterprise system to grow the jobs in Pennsylvania. In the 2 years that I've been traveling Pennsylvania, and particularly this last year, I told the people of Pennsylvania I would do what's in the best interest of Pennsylvania, and I promise you I won't let you down on that promise. The people have spoken. The election is over. The people have spoken, and their voices have been heard loud and clear all across Pennsylvania. I hear you. Jim hears you. We serve the people of Pennsylvania. We're no longer making campaign promises. It's now time for action. And we will do that starting the third Tuesday in January of 2011. And I will work closely and work with the House and the Senate, Republicans and Democrats, to bring that new Pennsylvania, to have us grow and go forward, and to make Pennsylvania number one. Jim and I are both honored by the vote of the people of Pennsylvania, and we both understand that we were elected to bring leadership to Pennsylvania, and I promise you we will provide that leadership. We'll provide the courage to make what we know are going to be the very tough decisions with the challenges that we face, decisions when it comes to the economy and to the pensions. And we will make those decisions regardless of the political consequences. We are not going to look at what gets us reelected. We're going to look at what's in the best interest, not only of the people of Pennsylvania, but particularly for the children of Pennsylvania. That's right. And you know, throughout the campaign, people ask me, well, what kind of role model do you have? And I reminded them, just look across the Delaware River to New Jersey, take a look at Governor Christie, or to Virginia with Governor McDonald. I hope you're like me. I believe Pennsylvania is a great state, but I believe it can be so much better. We have so much in resources here in Pennsylvania, starting with our children, our energy, our agriculture, our higher ed, but most importantly, the people of Pennsylvania are the resources that we have to tap to move Pennsylvania to the future. We need, particularly, to make Pennsylvania competitive. I talked a few minutes earlier to Governor McDonald of Virginia. He called to congratulate me and to have me join the ranks of governors. And I said, thank you, Governor. I look forward to it. But I also look forward to competing with you. Because my goal is to make Pennsylvania number one.
Tom Corbett, the governor-elect in Pennsylvania, says he's looking forward to that third Tuesday in January when he will be inaugurated and take over. And Republicans have swept to power in the Pennsylvania House tonight, and the Pennsylvania legislature, I should say, tonight. And Tom Corbett, your next governor.
That's right. Republicans, big victory in a lot of positions and a lot of houses and a lot of races as projected.
A brief break on Election Central. Back with some more information, including some other key Republican victories to tell you about right after this.
Just another day at the office. Curtis Total Service is celebrating 20 years of professional service throughout the Lehigh Valley and surrounding areas.
All right, as mentioned, Republican candidates are piling up victories, state and federal levels tonight.
That's right. Let's look at one of those races right now. This is the race for Congress in the 8th District. And as you can see, Fitzpatrick, the Republican, taking the seat from Murphy, the Democrat. This is exactly what happened in reverse from 2006 when Murphy took the seat from Fitzpatrick. Now Fitzpatrick got it back, and Fitzpatrick spoke just a few moments ago. Let's listen in.
It's been a long year. Is it worth the wait? What do you think? I just want to say just a couple of words. About this election. We stood together on January 23rd earlier this year to announce a candidacy to take back our country. And the people that I see here tonight are the very same ones that came out with me the first day. We knew it would be tough. We knew it would be a lot of hard work. We knew it would be expensive. And nobody blinked. You stood with me then, through the summer, the rough days of the fall, when the polls had us behind, and you never gave up. And that's what America's about. And we said we wanted to take our country back, and today we're here to say we've come and we've taken our country back.
Mike Fitzpatrick going back to Congress. He was there before. He lost then to the Democrat Patrick Murphy in 2006, and now he has turned the tables and defeated Patrick Murphy. Tonight, we'll be waiting to hear if Congressman Murphy speaks this evening, and if we get that, we'll bring that to you.
That's right, and we're looking at Congress, the change of power. There, the Republicans taking the power back from the Democrats, and we're also looking at some Senate races right now. Let's take a look at some national races going on. This one, the one for West Virginia, and this a case where the Democrat was actually able to keep the seat here. This one from Senator Byrd seat, and Manchin able to hold on to that one for the Democrats.
Right. Closely watched race tonight, and because the Republican could not take it, it does make it look like it'll be quite a challenge for the Senate to go to Republican hands. Other races we're following for you tonight, another Senate race. In this case also, the Democrat has prevailed. Richard Blumenthal will be the winner there in Connecticut. That's the projection anyway. It does appear 54% to 46%. Another one in the D column. So it is looking more and more, as I said, difficult, quite a challenge for the Republicans to be able to actually run the table in the rest of these races and take control of the Senate.
That's right, and this is another one that Democrats were able to hold on to here with Chris Coons defeating Christine O'Donnell, the Tea Party candidate. That was one that was getting a lot of national attention, and O'Donnell not able to take that seat there in Delaware. So Coons, the Democrat, able to get another one for the Democrats in the Senate.
All right, and the House apparently is going to GOP control, as we mentioned, and we are going to look at the Florida governor's race before we get back to talking about the House. And we have, in that case, the Republican Rick Scott, apparently on the way to pulling out a victory tonight in Florida, the governor's race over Alex Sink, a woman named Alex Sink, Democratic candidate, 52% to 48% at the margin, and one of the a number of governor's races that's being closely watched tonight as well.
That's right, another one of those races, the race for governor of South Carolina. You can see Nikki Haley here, the Republican, with that I don't know if you could guess victory at this point. It's still rather close, but right now the Republicans with somewhat of a significant lead as the numbers pour in there continually in South Carolina.
Right. Back to Congress. I was mentioning this balance of power situation as we take a look at a shot of our own website. Under the Election Central voter information page, you can see where things stand. And these are showing, of course, of the 435, which races are now in Democratic and Republican hands as of right now. And you see on the right how many are undecided, 146. But the pundits do think that the shift is happening in the House, where 40 seats or so were needed for Republican control. Looks like they'll get that. That's the House situation. Also mentioned the Senate situation. A little different there.
That's right. You're looking at still 13 seats undecided. The Democrats, however, still maintaining their lead there with 47. And as we said before,